Well, welcome everyone. Now, as you log on to the audio portion of our session, please find the chat button and enter into chat your facility name, your name, the name of any others in the room with you, and it would be lovely to enter the state where you are located. And we'll begin promptly at 12 Central Time. I'm in Illinois, so I'm going to be speaking in Central Time. That's 11 Mountain Time, but we'll begin promptly in very few seconds. But meanwhile, as you're logging on, please enter into chat your facility name, your name, the name of any others in the room with you, and the state in which you're located. And we'll begin, well, now at 12 noon. So thank you for joining. My name is Nell Griffin, and I will be taking the point for this presentation. I am joined by my teammate, Mariah. Mariah, you want to unmute so everyone can hear your voice?
Yes, hello everyone, welcome.
Welcome. Now, this is what makes this session noteworthy. This is the final session for 2024. We are entering a new year, an exciting time for us all, filled with new possibilities. But at this time, we also want to celebrate everything that occurred in 2024 as we welcome all of the new opportunities and possibilities of 2025. So this is both a conclusion and a renewed refresh for a new beginning session. So we're going to talk about that. So welcome to celebrating 2024 and welcoming 2025. That's the title of our session today. Now, I want to remind you, we will continue through 2025 to have these sessions on Tuesdays and Thursdays, which will meet for 30 minutes at 11 Mountain Time and 12 noon Central Time. So please register. You can go ahead and register now. They will continue through the next year. Please join us on social media. We're on Facebook and LinkedIn. Please social with us. Join us. Now, let's celebrate what was, and let's welcome what's coming. So we're going to prepare by asking you some questions. So we're going to have a polling question, and because it's open-ended, we want to give you time to think about it. So we're going to ask you in a few minutes, as we collaborate and share our successes, we want to know when you look in your rear view, think about 2024. What is something you're going to take away? What is something that you learned that you're going to carry with you into the future? And then what is something you're looking forward to in 2024? We want to do some collaboration and sharing. It could be personal, it could be professional, but we want to just have some time to share because it is open-ended. Want to give you time to think about it. It'll be entered in the poll and it'll come towards the end, but just think about what you want to write, and you can type it up where you're ready to populate it in the poll section when it's time. But what are you looking forward to in the coming year, and what are you taking with you from 2024? What did you learn that you're going to use, and what are you excited about in the coming new year? So think about that. We're going to ask you in a poll to enter your responses to each of these questions individually in a few minutes. So now, let's talk about 2024, a reminder of what was. Now, when we look at 2024, of course, SARS-CoV-2 and COVID-19 was still a dominant focus for us. Now, let's review this and think about this in the form of a story. So let's talk about it as a story. I'm a writer, so everything comes in the story format. So let's talk about this in the form of heroes and villains. Now, for our purposes, we're going to define the hero as someone who fights for a cause, who is unselfish, right? And the villain is that principal character who is selfish. They're just out for themselves, right? So heroes and villains. Now, in this story, we're the heroes. All of us humans, healthcare providers, that's us. We're fighting that good fight against our villain, which is SARS-CoV-2 and the COVID-19 disease, right? Let's remember that. Let's think about that. Now, all viruses, SARS is a virus, SARS-CoV-2 is a virus, and all viruses, they change. Now, SARS-CoV-2 is the one that, of course, causes the COVID-19 disease. But any virus, including our villain, will mutate. They change over time. Now, some of these changes have little or no impact on the actual virus, but some of them do. Some changes makes it easier to infect. It makes it more villainous. So it spreads easier. It now our defenses, which is our vaccine, can be harder. It makes it harder for our defenses to be effective, which is our vaccine, and of course our infection prevention strategies, hand hygiene, PPE, social distancing, ventilation, those are all applicable too. But also with some of the changes, it makes the medicines, our diagnostic tools, and even the directives from public health and our social measures, it makes them more challenging because the changes are making the virus more effective in its goal, which is to infect us. The goal of any virus is to get inside that cell, our human cells, and to change the mission of that cell into their own mission. That's what makes it a villain, and a virus is always a villain for us. So now when we look back at the SARS-CoV-2 virus and the history for the COVID-19 disease, when it first emerged, we needed to make sure, and this was something that was decided by public health and all of the scientific community, they needed to make sure that everybody was informed, and it was in a way that any person would understand. So they started naming it. They named the virus as it changed and as it mutated, and they had there were variants. These mutations were called variants. There were variants of concern, and then there were variants of interest. Now, the variants of concern are the ones where we saw the scientific community realize, okay, this one is mutating in a way where it could be more dangerous for us. And then the ones of interest were the ones, okay, we're seeing changes, we're just going to watch it. So in all of these initial variants, they named them by Greek letters because that was something the public could understand. But when the virus first emerged, we all knew Alpha, Beta, Delta, Omicron, Epsilon. We knew those names for it. But then in 2023, the scientific community decided, okay, we're going to stop with the Greek letters, and we're going to go with the nomenclature for scientific name, the BAs, the JN, and we stopped really calling the variants by certain names. It just became SARS-CoV-2, COVID-19. It emerged to the disease and not so much the virus at that time. So as our story continues, though, what didn't change was that the virus still continued to infect us, right? So with these variants, that it depends on the severity and those different changes, but our villain was still out there, still infecting us. Now, this is a visual of the cases. This is the COVID-19 cases for our 4 states. And the 4 states that Telegen currently serves is Colorado, Iowa, Illinois, and Oklahoma. So we're looking, and this is just a little snapshot of the most recent 2 quarters of the 2 calendar quarters, September to December, of the positive cases. Now, as you look at the legend up there, you see Colorado is the orange line, Iowa is the green line, Illinois is the blue line, and Oklahoma is the purple. And I don't know if your screen, you're seeing the colors as well. But if you look at the first line that you see the spike, that's the green. And that one is Iowa. So Iowa started out where it was leading the pack, but towards the end of the second quarter, which is December, it started declining with the number of cases. That's a good thing. We want to see that. Oklahoma, the purple line, started high, and it also declined with the number of cases. And for Colorado, we had a spike, as we could see right around November and the holidays, which we kind of see, but it's starting to plateau off. Illinois, for the most part, a little consistent. They didn't have a whole lot of spikes in cases, but that's not necessarily a good thing. It means that we weren't improving a whole lot, and we weren't seeing a whole lot more cases, but we weren't seeing a whole lot of improvement either. Not necessarily a good thing. We need more information to really analyze this, but this is just a visual of cases only. All the other circumstances aren't included in that. So now let's talk about the vaccine. The vaccine, of course, for us heroes, that's one of our main weapons, right? The vaccine for COVID. Now, this is not including our other weapons that we need to equally make sure we're keep in full protective mode with. And that is hand hygiene, that's PPE, that is ventilation, and that is social distancing, because the virus has to infect a person by jumping from one person to another. So it's environmental cleaning. It's all of those other things that are important as part of our arsenal to fight our villain, which is the SARS-CoV-2 virus. But this is just looking at our vaccine, right? How many people are getting the vaccine, which is one of our main weapons to fight this virus, right? So if we look at the legend's the same. Iowa, and this is just from October to December. It's just a snapshot. It's not a full picture, but from October to December, Iowa is really leading the pack. They're increasing with their number of residents who are receiving the current vaccine. And the vaccines have to adjust in order to fight the variants and the mutations of the virus. So vaccines do have to change over time to address the virus. That's how we fight it. That's our strong weapon, right? So Iowa's leading that so far. And then we have right behind it, Colorado is still moving in a good direction upward with the number of cases, the number of residents who are receiving the vaccine. Illinois steadily is increasing also, as well as Oklahoma. So we're seeing a nice increase, but we want to keep that going upward. What we don't see as we spiral out is where it's continuing to go upward. And that's what we want to. We're heroes. We want to fight our villain. So we want to see that continuing to go upward. So we'll keep monitoring this and keep looking and keep our efforts to fight our villain with the vaccine, as well as those other infection prevention and control practices that we have to have in place as we continue and we move into our next year. So now, let's talk about what else we're seeing. And our villain is still COVID-19, that disease. So let's talk about what we're seeing with the World Health Organization. This is all over. So the World Health Organization looks at their data and they set these goals for in 10-year increments, so from decade to decade. So right now the World Health Organization has looked at the data so far, and what we're seeing is that COVID is impacting life expectancy. So there's been a decrease in life expectancy because of the COVID vaccine. Right now globally, life expectancy is down to about 61 years of everyone's expected to live. Now, also, we're seeing where it is really starting to become one of the main causes for death. So as heroes, we of course want to stay on the front line battling our villain, which is the SARS-CoV-2 virus and the COVID-19 vaccine. Now, when this 10-year increment from 2020 to 2023, they have certain goals that the World Health Organization have set in place. They're called them sustainable developmental goals. And the aim is to make these changes. These goals are a call to action, and their goal is for all of us to work collaboratively on these goals. So we're involved in now, and they want to change the world. They want to call us to action to end poverty and inequality, to really protect our planet, and for everybody, which for America is the life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, but it's health, it's justice, and it's prosperity that they want for everybody, and nobody should be left behind. Now, in all of these goals, they have set 17 specific goals. Now, all of them kind of interrelate to each other, and all of them involve the same thing. We've got to fight our villain, which is any viruses, especially the SARS-CoV-1. But for healthcare, we live in goal 3, which is to ensure healthy lives and promote the well-being for all ages. And that, of course, impacts all the other goals. So with this, the WHO's goals, the Sustainability Development Goals, we are involved in now. So now let's talk about in 2024, how our villain trend, that's COVID. COVID-19, right? How did it trend? So this is a map, and this is off of the CDC website where they track that. They track how it's growing. That's the dark purple. Likely growing, that's the light purple. The not changing is sort of the off-white. Which likely declining is a light blue. If it's declining, which is what you want to see, that's the dark blue. And then the plain white is just they don't have the data. It's not estimated. Now, this is a map of around December 16th of this year. This is a map of December 25th of this year. So you can see across the nation, our villain is growing. And it's likely growing across the nation. So that's a drastic change. So we, heroes for 2025, need to put on our armor. So now, here's our first polling question. Let's talk about, and this is where we're going to get interactive. So our story continues. Let's talk about from our hero's perspective. What is something new that you learned about your COVID-19 response at your facility for 2024? Did you learn that people don't want to hear about COVID-19? There is still much to learn about COVID-19. Or do you feel that your facility has responded well to COVID-19? So select the answer that really is applicable for you. The poll has launched, so you should be able to select the answer that is applicable for you. And when we have about 70% or so of those who have joined us responding, we'll populate the results of the poll. Jason is navigating the poll. So Jason, once you see about 70% or so of our respondents have submitted an answer, please populate the results, and Mariah and I will look at those results and we'll discuss those. Which one do you think is applicable? Which statement? People don't want to hear about COVID-19. There's still much to learn about COVID-19. Or I feel our facility has responded well to COVID-19. Okay. So what I'm seeing here, we see the poll has populated. So about 35% feel that people don't want to hear more about COVID-19. About 12%, there's still much to learn about COVID-19. And then about 54% feel that their facility has responded well to COVID-19. Excellent. And we all want to feel that we are responding well. But let's talk about those who don't want to hear more about COVID-19. So I think that's going to be our most challenging group, because we need people. COVID-19 it's here to stay. It's still around. It's still infecting people. It's still killing people. And we need to stay educated and informed as much as possible about this ever-changing virus, and our vaccine need to address it and stay on top of it. And our scientific community is doing that. So getting people interested in COVID-19 and maintaining their knowledge is a challenge, but that's something we all want to think about what we can do for 2025. So that's something you want to think about. If you said, people don't want to hear about COVID-19, if that was your response, let's talk about what we can do. Let's collaborate on that in our responses when we talk again in a few minutes. And that there's still much to learn about. Yes, that is very true, because the virus is always evolving. Any comments from any of my teammates? I see my teammate Gina's on, Mariah's on, Roseanne is on. Ro and Mariah or Gina, any comments on our poll that you want to make?
Hey, Nell. I'm curious to learn about, for those of you that have had a lot of success with your facility responding well to COVID-19, what are some of the things that you're doing in-house that you feel has helped to contribute to those successes and that good response? So if anyone could please type into chat, or please feel free to come off of mute. We'd love to hear and kind of talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's what we want to do with this as we go into 2025. We want to collaborate and share what's working well. So if you feel and it was 54% who said that, if you feel your facility is responding well to COVID-19, share with us. What do you think you're doing well? and it's a good thing to share the good news. Let's all share our hero moments. So type in the chat or unmute and share verbally. We want to hear from you. And just interrupt if you have trouble unmuting, or you decide you want to come off and share verbally, just unmute and let us know, and we'll give you the floor. Anyone want to share? And if you see anything in chat, because I know it takes a moment to type in chat, let me know, Mariah, and we'll always come back and hear what they say.
Absolutely. And now we actually have a couple of things coming in through
Yeah.
chat. Denise had shared that there's been a lot of talk about vaccines and the benefits, and that they've had a good percentage of residents up to date with the most recent 24-25 COVID-19 vaccine.
Good.
She also mentions early identification and quarantine.
Absolutely. And that's one of our challenges. So that early identification, so you can quarantine to prevent the spread, is one of our key strategies. Excellent. Anything else from anyone in chat? All
Yeah,
right.
and we've Lorraine has shared that they have all staff are wearing masks. They do POC tests for all staff and residents with symptoms.
Excellent. Because that's one of our indicators, and masking is still strongly encouraged by a lot of healthcare providers are really re-implementing the masking requirement too. Okay, thank you. So now we're going to ask you to share, what are you looking forward to in the new year? So we're going to look at the new year in review first. What is something that you're taking away that you'll use in the future? And what are you excited about in 2025? So I'm going to ask my teammate Mariah to share her thoughts on this first.
Absolutely. Thanks, Nell. Um, so something that I'm going to be taking when I'm looking back at this past year, I think every year I say I can't believe it's the new year, but it is. Here we are. Um, this year, I was just really excited with the partnerships and the connections that we've kind of made through just connecting with all of our nursing homes. I also had made a personal goal this year. I've really wanted to expand my knowledge base in infection prevention and control. So I had set out to obtain my long-term care certification in infection prevention. And so recently I completed that goal and obtained that certificate. And so I'm just really eager to use and just share this new knowledge base with everybody. And I'm just really excited for that. And then as far as this new year, I'm just continuing to establish and create those relationships with everyone. I also have been just really in awe of just all of the dedication and perseverance that you all have shown with us through just some of the exciting new innovative ways of how you're getting staff and your team engagement, learning about the creative like educations that you guys are doing. And so you all have a lot of things to be proud of. And I'm just really excited to learn more about what you guys are doing on the forefront because I love sharing these stories with
Yeah.
other facilities or team members, and I just think it's just really fun to hear. So I'm really looking forward to that this new year. And then now, I also wanted to just share a couple of extra things that we had that came into chat. Teresa had mentioned that they get swabs for RSV, influenza, and COVID sent to the lab. Anytime a resident has respiratory symptoms, which I think that's really be able to have that, do that, implement that, have that capability is great for that quick identification in early intervention. And then Jacqueline also shared that they work very closely with their Department of Health. And additionally, they made a packet for the nurse leaders so they know what to do when an outbreak occurs even when nursing leadership is not around, the staff can do that. So I think that's another great tool resource to
I
really
agree.
help empower staff, to
Mm,
take those initiatives. I think that's great.
mhm. That's excellent. I think making sure everyone knows what to do, especially if leadership isn't around, is strong, a strong intervention. Excellent. Okay. So we want you to share. I'm going to share mine. So what I'm looking for when I think about the year in review is similar to Mariah. I think that our stories from all of our nursing homes out there, our partners, that's something that we're going to take with us. The things that you are doing great, the things that are working for you, sharing what happened for you in 2024 is so important because we build. I believe, we got to learn from what has happened and take it into the future. And your stories and what you share with us, your success stories are key. And we had several this year. So that's something we're going to build on and take with us in the future. And that's what I'm looking forward to in 2025. Also, on the personal level, we're really looking forward to finally getting our CMS contract resolved because that's been pending forever. So really we'll celebrate once that award happens because that's been on hold for a while. So any of my other teammates want to share? Gina, Ro, Jason, before we move on.
Well, Nell, this is Gina. I guess I was thinking of you were talking about those successes and helping nursing homes throughout this past year. I have seen a lot of successes, and it really lights a fire in me to continue with that support into the future. As it was mentioned, building those relationships, being
Yeah,
here to support you with
yeah,
your needs, especially when it's impacting the residents and their outcomes. So, really excited to see more of those successes coming forward.
yeah, me too. So let's launch our poll and let's talk about in 2024. What is something that went well for you? This is open ended. And I know we have already some in chat, which we've read. That's great. But anyone else want to put into the poll question? What is something in 2024 that went well for you that you're proud of? Let's have a sharing moment. And as soon as Jason, you see some responses, please populate and let's share because we do have one more polling question I want to get to, and that's what you're looking forward to in 2025. So as you're entering in this one, what went well in 2024, be prepared because we'll populate the next poll shortly. We're asking you to enter what you're looking forward to in 2025. So Jason, as soon as you see some results, let's populate this poll. And I know it takes a moment, but anyone else want to, while we're waiting for the poll to populate, for people to, it takes time to type in. So while we're waiting for people to type in, anything else you want to share, something that of 2024 that was significant for you and what you learned from it? Any of my teammates or anyone want to unmute and share? Any experiences that you want to share? It could be personal, it could be professional, but what's something that happened that you overcame? And Gina, I know you have a story about something you had to overcome.
I did put it in chat. Yes, I fell and broke my
Okay.
wrist and
Yes.
really learned maybe I empathize more with the elderly when they fall and break
Yeah.
their wrist or break a bone and what they have to go through to overcome that. Definitely a learning experience, something I never want to go through again.
Yeah. And actually how you broke it was just doing something ordinarily around the house. You were moving a
Yeah,
couch or something, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
just normal routine stuff, nothing out of the ordinary. Although it is kind of strange to fall and break your wrist while moving a couch. I think that was odd,
I
but anyway,
I guess that was unique. Yeah. That might have
yes.
been a little unique. Yeah. So we have any results to populate yet, Jason? Okay. I don't, okay. For the year review, what was the answer? I don't see the answer populated in the poll. Did that show up for you, Jason or Mariah?
Let me, I'll just paste it in chat.
Oh,
One
okay.
second.
Okay. So the poll didn't populate where I could see it. I don't know if Mariah could see it. And Jason's going to populate this one in chat. So meanwhile, let's look at, and you could go ahead and type in, what are you looking forward to or anticipating for 2025 as we wind down in this last minute. And please unmute and share.
Hey, Nell, just
Uh-huh.
if you don't mind, I'm going to read off some of the responses that we got from that last question while everyone's typing in. We had some significant improvement in QMs,
Oh, love it.
stronger partnerships with nursing home leadership, sister homes, trade associations, families of residents.
Excellent. Oh, good. And I guess, Jason, we're just going to populate in chat our responses for what they're looking forward to also, huh? Or you could read them off, whatever works best.
We have less pain and healthier living.
I'm with you.
And then we have another response that they're going to be having an iCar in 2025. So they're going to be learning a lot.
Yes. And those iCards are absolutely great learning tools. They're about improvement, not punishment. Good thing. And please share it with, when you have it, share it with whoever your point of contact is for Telligent. We love to help with those also. Excellent. Anything else?
Yep. And then we have just one more. Row is honored that we can work with all of you and looking forward to building new relationships in 2025.
I so agree with that. I'm on board with that one too. So any other questions or comments before we move on? Because I know we're at time. And don't unmute, and please feel free to share verbally. So we want to thank you for your attention. Now there will be a survey. It's just 5 quick questions. So please, is it going to pop up when they exit, or Jason, are you sending it to them in an email?
Yes, as soon as the session ends, it will pop up.
Perfect. So please don't log off before you respond to the assessment. We want your feedback. We're going into 2025. We're quality improvement. We want to improve, and there's always room for improvement. Give us your feedback. Let us know what we can do better, what's working well, what we can continue. So please take a few minutes. It's very brief, 5 questions. Please do respond. Contact us if you have any questions or comments. We do have ongoing sessions. We will continue January 2nd. We will have a session where we're talking about hospitalization. On January 7th, we're going to do PDSA. And then on January 9th, we are going to talk about the role of an infection preventionist. So please register and attend those. And we want to thank you. And we want to absolutely wish you well with everything you do in 2025 and embrace it. Be the hero of 2025. So thank you very much. And please complete the assessment at the end. Any comments or questions in chat before we log off, Mariah?
I am not seeing any questions into chat. Lots of Happy New Year's and thank you.
Happy New Year. All right. Well, celebrating 2025. So be safe, and we welcome 2025 together. Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you.